Good evening, Des Moines, Iowa, and the world. Welcome to the Doc and Lefty program, coming to you from the Northside Studios, webcast1live.com, and simulcast on docandlefty.com. This is Lefty, as always, coming to you with the perspectives you love from the sides you hate. And today, if you can't tell from the angle, from the way that I'm sitting, the extra pep in my step, the extra something in my walk, I suppose, I'm in the captain's seat. The good doctor is out, but because he doesn't trust me to do this thing by myself, and frankly, we've experimented with that, and it was terrible. We have our good buddy who is achieving very quickly super friend of the show status. I know how valuable that is to you, man.
It is.
Yeah, Jake Highfill, Representative Jake Highfill from Urbandale, right?
Johnston
Grimes.
A little bit of Urbandale.
Oh boy, a little bit of Urbandale. I can't remember the numbers, and I can't remember the geolocation. So basically, I don't know anything about anything.
They break up all the time. I have all of Johnston, all of Grimes, and one precinct in Urbandale.
See, you just can't keep Johnston, Grimes, and Urbandale. The jug is like I like to call it. You can't keep the jug together, so the jug gets shattered all the time and reformed into other things. But no, Jake is here. He's going to help navigate the wacky political season that we're in. We just finished the Republican National Convention. We're into the Democratic National Convention. We'll get to all that in a little bit because I know that Jake's got thoughts on both. I've got thoughts on both. And hopefully that'll be interesting for us to exchange those ideas. I'm always happy to talk to you about that kind of stuff, and you know this. But first, I know that that Doc especially has been energized by some of these fatalities and some of the news coverage about cyclists on the roads. Heard about a guy. I think 2 riders are down, or a couple more than that on RAGBRAI already. Well, I don't know if you have a number.
One officially.
One officially, yeah. And it's a tragic situation, and we certainly don't want to make light of anything like that, because when people are injured or killed riding their bikes around, it's a tragedy for both. The drivers don't want to do it, and certainly the families of the bike riders are devastated. But it has sparked a new. Well, I don't know about. You know what? You are the legislator. How new is this conversation about whether or not there's a legislative role for cyclists and protecting them on the roads, and maybe penalties for drivers, maybe not? Fill us in on where that's been over the last couple of years.
Well, again, thanks for having me. Good to be here with you, Lefty.
Always.
Last year was the first I heard about it. The Senate did work on a bill last year, and I had a bunch of calls on the bill, both sides of the issue. One of the concerns with the bill we had was, I represent Johnston and Grimes. 141 is a highway. It's not an interstate. So technically, if they want to ride like a normal vehicle on that, on 141, they could be that. In my mind, that is just dangerous. That is just not very smart. There's about 50,000 cars that go in that a day. It's already way congested as it is. It's going to go 3 lanes here on both sides here in 2017. They're going to do overpass. So putting bikes on 141 is probably not the smartest thing, but under that bill, that would allow that and make them even more of a current vehicle as they already are. We talked about before the show that they are a current vehicle. I also think that would really put a problem on too much liability and slowing traffic down and putting people in jeopardy that should not be, getting 65 miles an hour past on semis. That's just dangerous, in my opinion.
So that was that the 141 to allow bicycles on there? Was that introduced last year?
Yeah, well, what it did was it basically made the standards much tougher for.
Okay.
Unless the bike, basically ran into you, it's always the car's fault.
Sure.
Basically, I don't know the exact wording for it. I didn't come over to the House, so we didn't get a vote on the House. But I will tell you, it was a bill, and I had to read the bill at the very beginning of the session because I was getting a lot of phone calls. To be honest with you, I had a lot of people against it because of that very issue I brought up, but also had a few people for it. So I will say that if you want to talk about it, like we talked earlier, the bike trails are okay and everything else, but we have to have a better standard that if they're going to be on the road, they got to follow the same rules as us. And the thing about RAGBRAI that's kind of scary is that RAGBRAI, I drove the last 2 years for a day or two, and my dad and my sister who came back, and I drove the
the sport bus,
yeah, sport bus,
yeah,
and it was awesome, great time. But I'll tell you, those state troopers are the most. It was efficient, safe as it comes. They've come in right behind, so it's amazing to me that they were even allowed vehicles on the same path as RAGBRAI.
Right.
So that shocked me a little bit. Having some idiot that drank too much, like we had last year, blow way over and hit somebody, and then I'm completely okay with that. Obviously, the person was in the wrong and took an innocent life. We don't want that. But that was kind of unique that on a safe route like RAGBRAI, there tends to be, obviously there's different problems with overhydration, dehydration, but when it comes to cars, that was kind of unique. So the way I saw it was, man, they are in a pack, they stay together for the most part. And
well, and that's the thing about, I mean, I'm kind of agnostic on this stuff because I don't know that there is something new legislatively that can happen to protect bicyclists that haven't already happened. I mean, bicyclists are required to follow the same sorts of rules of the road. They're supposed to stop at traffic signals. They're supposed to signal in the appropriate way with their left hand that we're all kind of taught when we first learn how to ride a bike. Yep, absolutely. They're supposed to yield to pedestrians just the same way that cars do. I think that I once heard, and this might be apocryphal, but I'm pretty sure that when I was going to college at the University of Iowa, that I heard about a kid getting pulled over for an OWI on his bike. I feel like I've heard that somewhere. Probably not.
I've heard the same thing. I went to Iowa too.
I'm pretty sure that didn't happen.
I will tell you, in person, I have seen an OWI at one of those coolers.
Oh, right.
At Iowa State game, my parents had tickets there. I was with them. They had one of the motorized coolers, and the guy was being obnoxious, and the cops go, "OW," and I was like, couldn't even believe it. I was sitting there watching, just a little bit over.
I had an old boss of mine had a guy that got popped on a golf cart, so I think it's got to be motorized. Like just
and you have to try. Cops are. I mean, you have to go out of your way for that one.
They're going to give you a lot of, and I may or may not have participated in some of those shenanigans on a bike myself. But you gotta really annoy somebody in Iowa City to get something like that. But the interesting thing that I heard is that there's until this is adequately addressed, and sure, it's a conversation we need to have. It's something we need to look at because we've had some high profile cyclist deaths, whether it be from texting and driving or whether it be a cyclist on that somebody didn't see on a bike path when they cross in those county roads. That happens sometimes. A guy or a driver not seeing somebody. We've had some high profile things, so I think we need to talk about it. But one of the interesting propositions that I heard was, until the legislature takes up a bill, shut down RAGBRAI. I think you've probably heard something like that.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. RAGBRAI is completely different than the average rider. Like I said earlier,
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, RAGBRAI is set. The state troopers did it. I've told them before. They did an excellent job. I stopped and told one of them, I go, they were going through town. I stopped. I've never been on the thing. I worked RAGBRAI when I was in college, volunteered for some stuff. But I'll tell you what, it was pretty incredible. So comparing RAGBRAI to overall how the state is, that's different. I mean, that's an event where we shut down a town for a set amount of hours.
Yep.
And that's 4 hours here, next town. Troopers go, let's go, guys, or you're going to be on your own. That's kind of how it works. And so that's completely different than having the average driver because you're on major highways with large crowds and there's no other cars, so it's different.
Much easier to see large crowds. I mean, obviously, we want to make sure that motorists are paying attention to bicyclists on the highway or on the city streets in Des Moines or any other major place where we have, especially when on the Ingersoll corridor, we have the delineated bike path. The neighborhood voted for that. They want it. We don't have that. It's not universal across the city, but different places that want that done. Just paying attention and being more mindful. But what do you think about especially this really tragic case of the young lady who was riding her bike and she was training, I think, for something on one of the county highways I think she was close to home, and a friend of hers, I think a high school or college friend of hers, ran her down. And this is out, I think, east of here. Ran her down and admitted that she'd been texting, didn't see her. Horrible story. But the county attorney elected not to prosecute her, and elected, I think, to cite her under the inadvertent killing of a bicyclist, like $1,000 fine or something like that. A couple other traffic citations, but didn't prosecute her. Do you think that was the right call?
I don't know all the details of the case, like I was saying.
You know the case I'm talking about.
Yes, I do know what you're talking about, but again, I don't know every detail. He knows more, the prosecutor knows more detail than I do. But I'll give you like we talked about before, in Iowa, texting is not a primary offense.
Explain that for us.
Primary offense means that, let me give you a quick example. Why are you asking the non-lawyer here?
That's true. Everybody, We're going to get back to that here in a second, but we're right up against a break. You make a good point. I'll explain it. Yeah, thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. We're up against a break. We're going to thank our sponsors really quick if we can. Bertroshan Associates, Lubinas Law Firm. We got Des Moines Anesthesia at 515-574-6442, the longest historic sponsor of the Doc and Lefty program. They were here when this was something different years and years and years ago when Doc was much younger and more beautiful. Des Moines InterestRates.com and that's the Halo Capital websites. So check them out too. And Lubinas Law Firm, Bertroshan Associates. That's Doc and I. So please visit our sponsors, check them out, and we will be